Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel where I discuss all sorts of topics surrounding mental health, intuitive eating, body positivity, sociology, and other fun stuff. Remember to comment your opinions down below, like this video, and subscribe. I love talking to you guys down in the comment section. I never really thought of myself as a child-free person until fairly recently, like these last 2 years or so. Even as I was writing the script, I realized for the first time that the pandemic likely played a bigger role in that decision than I might have realized. There are a lot of scary things that I wouldn't want to bring a child into. For example, I personally believe that science and God can coexist at the same time, and therefore, I do believe in climate change. The thought of bringing a child into this world, where the future is so unpredictable, feels more selfish than almost anything. Life is already really hard without the added stress of what a child might have to deal with after I die. My state already catches on fire every summer. I don't even want to imagine what it would be like in 50 years when I'm gone, and my hypothetical child is an adult, possibly with a family of their own. But some people don't believe in climate change. I mean, go off I guess, but the science is there. You don't even need to believe the science to see how the world is changing each year, but I digress. I have other reasons to not want kids that have nothing to do with big picture stuff like climate change and everything to do with personal stuff. I want to play a clip from one of my favorite shows, BoJack Horseman.
You must think I'm a real monster.
Mom.
I don't want to fight you, BoJack. I just wanted to tell you, I know you want to be happy, but you won't be, and I'm sorry.
What?
It's not just you, you know. Your father and I, you come by it honestly, the ugliness inside you. You were born broken. That's your birthright. And now you can fill your life with projects, your books and your movies and your little girlfriends, but it won't make you whole. You're BoJack Horseman. There's no cure for that.
This quote resonates with me because of my family's long history of toxic behavior and mental illness. I've broken the cycle in more ways than one. However, and maybe this is a self-esteem thing more than something I should truly be worried about, I don't think that our family's traits should be passed on to another generation. I don't want to make a kid deal with mental illness or anxiety or even have to deal with me as their mother. I know my mom tried her best. Mom, if you're watching this, I really do mean that. She still had a lot of her own struggles that caused me lifelong trauma. If that was her trying her best, I could certainly scar a child of my own without even meaning to, only for them to pass it on and on. There's simply just health issues beyond mental illness in my family I'd prefer to not pass on. We have addictive personalities, our stomachs are sensitive, we gain weight easily, we get migraines, we suffer from chronic insomnia. To create a whole human and make them deal with that on purpose couldn't be me. In terms of mental health, generational trauma is a real thing. In terms of physical health, our healthcare system in the United States is so broken that I can't imagine having a child and make them deal with any health issues that might occur. I do want to clarify, though, that I realize people can live full, rich lives with all sorts of health conditions. And if someone has a hard time due to a health condition or disability, that's the fault of the healthcare system and our ableist capitalist society. It's definitely not the fault of the individual or the parents of that person. Speaking of our healthcare system, kids are expensive. I was born in the generation between millennials and Gen Z, so I've seen from both sides how much the cost of having children is affecting our generation's decisions to not have children. Why would I have kids only to not be able to give them everything they need or want? It's not like I'd be able to send them to college or leave them a savings for when I die and the world burns down or something. I like having money on my own that I can impulsively buy stuff with at 2 a.m. for a tiny bit of dopamine. I know I'm not alone in this decision to not have children. Almost 3 in 5 millennials say that they don't want children because it's too expensive to have them, and almost half say they'd rather focus on their career, and 15% say that they're at least less interested in having kids because of the pandemic. I've linked an article in the description that talks further on this study. While it was a bit harder to find statistics on Gen Z's interest in having kids, I did find one article that stated 1 in 10 of Gen Z has expressed that they do not want children. I suspect that it's harder to find those statistics because the oldest of Gen Z is 24 to 26-ish, so there's controversy on that, and therefore, much of Gen Z isn't even expected to have children yet, but that's just a guess. If it were me, I think the statistics will be much higher in the future in terms of how many Gen Zers do not want kids. Even though I couldn't find specific numbers, I saw a lot of information in my research that observed that Gen Z thinks that it's immoral to have children bad for the planet, as well as a general sense of fear for the instability of the future. These statistics and information definitely seems accurate, based on my personal anecdotal observations of other millennials and Gen Zers on apps like TikTok. Basically, it's all relatable stuff to me. Sometimes, child-free people are called selfish by certain parents for some reason. I can't really see why, partially due to the reasons I've already listed, but also, like, that kid doesn't exist yet. Maybe they mean selfish in the way that, like, I don't want to give my mom a grandchild or something like that. If that's the case, then sure, I guess I'm selfish. And that's okay. Sometimes, I have to admit, in fleeting moments, I think I want kids. Those moments are usually around the holidays, when I'm feeling lonely due to only having a small fraction of our family around. I think maybe it would be nice to start traditions with my own family to have around. Or, sometimes I'd want to see what a child of mine would look like. To me, though, both of those reasons are more selfish than not having a kid would be. I still think it's good to not put a history of toxic family traits onto a human who doesn't even exist yet, and won't ever have to, if I choose not to. But anyway, I'm also selfish because I like my sleep. I like not having to take care of a kid if I have a migraine. I like my days off and not having to take a kid to a doctor's appointments, or school shopping, or on a play date. I hate taking myself to those things with adults my own age, let alone a kid. Not to mention, my dogs are my whole world. I've seen far too many people giving away dogs they've had for years, just because they don't get along with a new baby. It breaks my heart to think of my dogs feeling neglected because I'm taking care of a child. It breaks my heart to think about how I might not be able to afford vet bills because of a child. Some parents would argue that the love you experience when you have a child rivals anything else, including love for a dog, and maybe that's true for some people. Whatever, I'm not going to argue with that, but I only know the love of my dogs, which is the deepest I've ever felt, and that's good enough for me. Thanks for watching. Do you plan to have kids? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe.